in front of us are all the components that will come with your MazeMods deck block. So in front of us here, we have the front and the back panels. We have two side panels, which are identical to each other. And then we have a bottom and a top. Now, you can tell the difference between your top and bottom panel by referencing this rectangle here in your corners. That's where the magnets reside. So this will be your bottom, or even easier, you can flip it to the other side and find where the magnets are. So side with the magnets is your bottom, side without is your top. On the left and the far left corner, we have the rear guard for the drawer. We have the drawer shield, and here's the drawer itself. So to begin with, we're going to go ahead and push the drawer components to the side, and we're going to focus on putting the box together. Alright, so the first step is you're going to notice that the pins come pre-inserted into a few of the sides. This is to protect the pins during transport and to help give you an idea how they work. So we're going to want to pull those pins out and organize them on the side. So to pull them out, you can grab from either end, but one side's going to be slightly wider than the other. So I would go for the widest side. You can see this gap here is slightly wider than that gap. Go ahead and just pinch that pin and pull it out. It should slide out real easy. So we're going to do this for each of the pins, making sure to keep equally linked pins together, and keeping it organized will help us sort them later. So let's get to it. Alright, so here I have pulled all the pins out. I have them sorted according to their lengths. Now we're going to get to assembling. Now, before we start putting together this deck block, I want to give you a couple tips and tricks. So first, I want to teach you the way that these interlock. So you'll notice that the sides interlock with each other. And the idea is that they rest at a 90-degree angle. And you have each of the panels interlock with each other to become a box. Now, when they're interlocked, they can be rotated 180 degrees and still interlock. And the point I want to make here is that you want to be cognizant of the orientation of the panel. So in this case, if I have a panel that is facing up, I want to make sure that the panel I'm adjoining is also facing up, not down. If you don't care about that, then you don't need to worry. But if you do, be aware that you want to do that. And now I want to show you a couple tips and tricks with the way these lock together. So MazeMods deck blocks use a pin and slot system to lock sides together. So if you look here, you can see that the sides have a slot that run the length of each side. And when we bring two together, it forms a complete slot. You also notice that the shape of the hole is a triangle. And on that triangle, I'm going to add an overlay to this so that you can see it. And that's important because you want to have the longer of the three sides be resting against your thumb. If you roll it around in your finger, you can typically feel it. So once it's in your thumb like so, you're going to be able to slot it in and it be in the correct orientation. If you try to rotate it the wrong direction, you're not going to be able to insert the pin. It's going to give you tremendous amount of resistance. You generally shouldn't need to force these pins in. So now when it comes time to insert the pins, you do not want to hold the pin far away from the panels, the slot that you're trying to insert it into. What happens when you do that is you're likely going to bend and break the pin. Instead, you want to hold the pin close to the slot. And once you have it in, you're going to push just a little bit, and it's going to slide right in there. Move your thumb back a little more and push. Move your thumb back, push, 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 and you keep doing that until you have nothing left to grab onto. And at this point, just put your finger at the end of the pin and gently push it the rest of the way. And you're going to get it locking in there. Now, you're going to notice that the pin disappeared. This is bad. Once you've inserted it, you should see the pin on both ends. So I did this intentionally because I want to show you what happens if you insert the wrong sized pin into one of these slots. So in this case, I've now embedded a small pin into a longer slot. So the way that we're going to get this out is we're going to grab another pin, really of any size, but I'd encourage grabbing the longest pin, and you're going to push it in until the other pin comes out the end. At this point, you have a couple options. Once it's here, you can use, if you have some at home, whoa! Sorry about that. You can use a pair of tweezers. Reach it in there, get one end behind the pin, pinch it, and pull it right out. Now let's say that we don't. We don't have our tweezers. We have a pin inserted, and it's pressing the pin as far as it can go. This is where you can use your multi-tool. Let me reach for mine. So, with your multi-tool, what you're going to have is this protrusion here, and that protrusion is a pin removal tool. So you're going to insert the protrusion behind the pin that you wish to remove, and you're going to bend it ever so slightly until the end of the pin clears the edge of the corner. These edges inside the corners are what keep the pins in there. You don't have to worry about breaking it. Just bend it far enough so that it clears it. And once it's cleared, you can then push on the other end and the pin will slide right out. And at this point, you can use your finger to bend it so it's straight again and pull the pin the rest of the way out. All right, now the last thing that I want to teach you is 3D printing is imprecise, and unfortunately on some occasions you wind up with an end of a pin that is slightly thicker than spec. So you might find that when you go to insert it, you can't. You're putting a sufficient amount of force on there, but the pin is not moving into the slot. So the first thing you can do is try rotating the pin in little circles. This 90% of the time will get you past, and what's happening is the end of the pin is catching on the hole on the entry point of the slot. Now, if you're rotating this and it's still, while applying force toward the box and it's still not inserting, the next step is to flip your pin and try to insert from the other end. Usually only one end is fatter, and the opposite side is a little smaller. At this point, if you still can't get it in, rotate in little circles while pressing toward the box. Now, let's say that you've tried both sides of your pins and you've tried rotating in circles and you're still not able to insert your pin into it. You can separate them and try to insert in this manner. Sometimes you might have a piece of debris that's caught in there. But if you're still not having any luck while it's together, rotate the box around 180 degrees and repeat the process. So it's time to start assembling our box. Here comes the fun part. First thing, I'm going to encourage you to put your lid on last. It's slightly different than the rest of the panels, and it's much easier to put on at the end rather than in the middle. I have put many of these boxes together, and the order that I'm going to show you is the one that is easiest for newcomers to learn. However, you can put these sides together in any order that you want, and I think you'll find after you follow along with me for this first box that you'll find an order that you prefer. So, first thing you want to grab is the bottom piece, bottom panel. Again, refer to the rectangles where the magnets are inserted, or look for the magnets to recognize the bottom from the top panel. Then you're going to want to grab a side. Now, these only go together in one orientation. You want to find the sides that are equal length, and bring them together at a 90-degree angle. You'll want to be cognizant of placing the side panel in the correct orientation. It should face up from the bottom panel. If you rotate it 180 degrees, you'll see it'll still fit, but your logo will be upside down. At this point, we're going to find the pin that fits into the slot within the corners of the panels. So if you ever forget which pins go into which slot, you want to hold it up, and the ends of your pins should be within the corners of the panels. Just as a demonstration, if you grab a pin that is the wrong length, it will either be too short or too long. So grab the one that is the correct length and insert it in. And at this point, your sides are connected together. From here, grab your back panel and place it on the back of your deck block. The way you know where the back of the deck block is you can look at the magnets. The magnets are always on a regular deck block toward the back of the panel.
Hey, Future Nate here. Just wanted to give a quick editor's update. If you are constructing a collection block, the magnets on the bottom panel are positioned symmetrically, so the orientation does not matter. Alright, back to the video.
Once you've identified where the back is, you're going to place it on. If you need one more trick to learn how to find where the back of the panel is, and this will work with your collection box as well, is that you can take your drawer and place it onto the magnets of the back of your bottom panel.
Hey, Future Nate here with another editor's note. All magnets in the drawer should be drawn to a magnet in the panel, and the drawer should be off-center from the panel, with the front of the drawer extended slightly out from the panel. It should look like this. Alright, back to the video.
Once you have it on here, the front of the drawer has the opening to show off the card. The back of the drawer is a solid piece. This is the back of your deck block. So this is where you can place your panel. Go ahead and move that out of the way. And at this point, you're going to find the pins that match the length of the slots and insert them. Once you do this enough, you're going to be able to know which size pins fit in which slots, and you won't need to hold it up. At this point, grab the side and place it in. Again, we're going to be cognizant of the orientation of the art or logo that's on there. Make sure it's facing upright. And then grab the pins and put them in. Finally, before we touch the lid, we're going to take the top panel and place it on the top. Just like the other panels, this can be rotated 180 degrees. Put it in whichever direction you prefer. In my case, when I'm looking at the front of the deck block, I want to be able to read the logo. So I did the same thing for the bottom panel. I'll have the same orientation for the top. And you're going to grab the pins, and we're going to lock this in place. And there we go. At this point, we are ready to install the lid. Now the lid, just like the other panels, can be inserted in two orientations. You can rotate it 180 degrees. And this doesn't matter for your lids that have showcase windows. They're symmetrical. If you have a lid that has art, or like the dice blocks or the token blocks, put it in whichever orientation you prefer. Just make sure you inspect the box and the panel before you lock it in. At this point, we're going to do the same thing as the others. We're going to look for the slot here, and we're going to insert the pin into it. There we go. We now have an assembled deck block. Now that we have our deck block, assembled, it is time to assemble the drawer. But before we do, if you decided you did not want to use the drawer and would rather use a hard shell case like a mini snap or a Gamegetic slide hard case, it will fit perfectly into the box without a drawer in it. However, it does not fit in the drawer. So that's a choice you're going to go ahead and make right now. Now, assuming you want to install the drawer, let's go ahead and get to it. So the drawer itself is incredibly easy. You just have two parts, which is the rear guard and the drawer. You're going to insert the rear guard into the base of the drawer. You notice this tooth that is at the bottom of the rear guard will slot into the hole in the back of the drawer. And on the side, your rear guard has these notches that will slide into these slots. So these slots in the back keep the rear guard from bending forward, while the notch in the bottom keeps the rear guard from kicking back. Now that we have the drawer assembled, we're going to remove the lid from the deck block. And if you don't know how to do it, you have these pins that will keep the lid locked in if you slide them away from the base. So there's a notch in the base here. This is the only one that's currently engaged, so I'm going to disengage it by sliding it away. And at this point, all four are disengaged, and we can remove the lid. Once the lid is removed, we're going to grab our drawer shield. And if you look on the back side of the lid, you notice these slots along each side of the lid. And if you look on the shield, you're going to see, let's see if I can get, there we go. You're going to see these butterfly joints on each side. Those butterfly joints here and here are going to align with the slots on the lid. You can't put it on the wrong way, so it won't slot in. And you can come from either direction, it doesn't matter, the bottom or the top. I prefer the top, but again, it doesn't matter. You're going to take these butterfly joints and slot them into the slots and slide the lid down. Now, at the bottom of your shield, you're going to see these three teeth. And on the three teeth, there's these little bumps there. Let me get we'll use these tweezers. If you look right there where I'm pointing, you see a bump, and it's on each tooth. Now, the point of that bump is to align with the base of the drawer. So if we look down here on the drawer, you can see it's got these two teeth with two bumps. So when we take the drawer shield and we line them up, the teeth together, you're going to see we have one continuous bump running the length of the base of the drawer. That bump's purpose is to align, I'll show you here, to align with the slot, keeping it in place. So the drawer is going to put force on the lid, pushing it against the lid so that it can't slide up and down. Now, to install the install the drawer onto the lid, you're going to do the same thing you did with the shield, where if you look right here, your drawer has two butterfly joints that will slot into the slots on your lid. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to push the shield down so that it is hanging out below the lid. Now we need to rotate the lid around, and we're going to slot it onto, let's see if I can get that. So we're going to take the butterfly joints, there we go, on the lid. We're going to slot it into the slots on the butterfly joints on the drawer. We're going to line it up with the slots that are on the lid. And at this point, we're going to take the shield, slide it down until these teeth line up. And at this point, now we're going to slide the lid down until it aligns just above that bump on the teeth of the shield in the drawer. Now, you noticed it was fairly easy for me to slide this up and down. If you find that you're seeing resistance, you're going to want to put force on it and keep it even. So if it wobbles, you're going to want to move it down like so. If you want, you can tap on either side. Just keep it fairly lined up. We're now at the point where the bottom of the lid is lined up with the bumps that are on the drawer and on the teeth of your shield. And there are a couple ways to push this on and lock it in place and clear it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you right now the first way, which is just using brute force and pushing it. So you can remove this guard for now, just so it's out of our way. But you go ahead and put 2 fingers on the drawer and 2 fingers on the lid and squeeze them together. And you can do it either way. I usually find it easiest to put my thumbs on the lid. Now we're just going to push until we hear it lock in place. Just like that. Give it a good hit. And there we go. The lid has now cleared that bump. It's locked in place. Go ahead and push right here on the front to assure that it's locked in. If it's a little up or down, that press will lock it into place. And now you have your drawer assembled. At this point, go ahead and insert it into the box. Push it slowly, the magnet will engage. And now push it the rest of the way. Engage your pins. And your deck block is fully assembled. Now, I wanted to take a moment to illustrate a common issue that may occur when you're installing the lid onto your drawer. What will happen is that when you're done, you'll try to insert the lid and drawer into your box, and you'll find that you're not able to easily close it. Something is blocking it or catching it. What this typically means is that your lid is not flush with the drawer itself. So what you can do is pull it out and take a look at the bottom, and you'll see here that the lid is actually not lined up with that bump entirely. So you want to go ahead and line that up. You can do it most easily by laying it on a flat surface and then pressing down on the lid, forcing it to be flush with the flat surface and therefore the bottom of the drawer. So I'm going to go ahead and push it down, and then I'm going to take the front and I'm going to press here on the base, maybe along it, to make sure that it has moved in line with the bumps on the drawer and on the shield. And at this point, we're now flush on the bottom, and we should find that it slots perfectly into the box. If you find that after you install the lid onto the drawer and you're able to push the bottom of the shield into the box, that means that the teeth on the bottom of the shield did not align with the bottom of the drawer. So what you're going to have to do, in this case I already have it raised up, but you're going to want to uninstall the lid and slide it up about so high. And at this point, you're going to slide the lid down and make sure that these teeth line up with the teeth on the shield line up with the teeth on the drawer. Okay, once they're lined up and you have that continuous bump on the bottom, you're going to reinstall the lid in whatever manner you want. Okay, make sure it's flush. We're going to press on the front. And now you're going to see your shield is in place and secure. There is going to be a tiny bit of flex right there at all times. That's just due to the nature of the design, but rest assured your card will be protected behind it.